I change your bum life. You fight me, it's a celebration.
I would beat you.
When you sign to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Conor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
Yo, welcome back to the fifth round. As always, your boy Stephen Moustaris. And man, big fight card that we just had over the weekend. I mean, I guess it's not that big in comparison to like UFC 276 or, you know, some of their bigger pay-per-view cards, but good old fight night. It was the battle of the Rafaels. Good old Rafael Fiziev, who, I mean, honestly, man, pound for pound, in my book, he's on the short list right now of probably the stronger, you know, stand-up game, kickboxing game in MMA right now. This dude's remarkable. He's just on a tear. I think a lot of people have been calling. I'm not the only one, but I think a lot of people have been calling. He's probably next very soon here at 155, especially what's going on there. So, and then of course RDA, you know, old school classic veteran Rafael Dos Anjos. And you know, I will say I definitely thought Fiziev was going to win this fight. I know when we just saw RDA come back in March, because I know he took a long layoff there. He fought in 2020. Supposed to have a couple fights there with Islam Makhachev, and they just kept getting, pulled out because I think RDA kept fucking getting hurt. And, you know, I'm at a point now where it's tough to see some of our, because RDA, don't get me wrong, RDA is nowhere close to my top 10 favorite fighter, top 15, top 20, probably not even in a top 50 favorite fighter ever. But, you do have to be respectful to the man. You do have to give him his props for what he's done in the game. And, you know, it's kind of sitting here. We're getting to the point now. I mean, we just saw Donald Cerrone finally retire. Diego Sanchez retired a couple years ago. You know, I mean, we kind of saw with BJ Penn. We've seen it with so many, Anderson Silva. We've seen it with so many of our favorite fighters. Rashad Evans. I would say DC, but DC was still fighting strong there at the end. I know he lost to Stipe, but still, Stipe Miocic is one of the greatest fighters ever. But, you know, we are getting to a point now for us fans that have been diehards here for the last, 10 or so years, if not more. You know, we're getting to a point now that a lot of our favorite fighters are, starting to retire. And, we are kind of the testing dummies of, fans of MMA. Like, the NBA, they've been dealing with it since, I think, 1946 or something, 42, whatever it was, that the NBA finally started after the ABA. And, we've had damn near 80 years now of just nothing but great guys coming and going. And, we're finally getting to that point now with MMA where the UFC's only been a big thing since 93. And it really has only been big for, I mean, to me, I would say the last 16 years, but many people can say the last 5 years has been getting huge. So, we are getting to the point now, though, we're starting to watch some of our favorite fighters that we grew up on finally starting to retire and finally starting to hit the downward slope. And, other than heavyweights and, like, the higher, the heavier weights of, like, light heavyweights and the heavyweights, 205ers and plus, like, for the most part, we don't see these guys have very long careers. It's not like it's NBA where, a knee or something could go out. Like, in MMA, like, you take too many punches to the dome, like, your brain's going to give out on you, not just your knees and your elbows and your arms and all these things. Like, so, we are getting to a sad point. And, I feel like it was just yesterday. I always bring it up. I feel like it's one of those fights that gets looked over so crazy, and maybe one of the best performances ever in a championship history, especially as the challenger coming in, was RDA's performance against Anthony Pettis. I mean, the dude absolutely mopped the floor with it. And Anthony Pettis, let's not forget, Mr. Wheaties. Dude had the Superman kick off the cage against Benson Henderson just a couple years before that. Submitted Benson again to get the UFC belt. Went through a couple guys, and it's, we're getting to a point now where, I felt like it was just yesterday. RDA comes in. Everybody thought Anthony Pettis was going to win. RDA mops the fucking floor with him. And, I mean, sadly, it goes on to lose to Eddie Alvarez, and then Eddie fucking loses to Conor, and all that stuff goes down. But, like, RDA's had a tough couple years here. Like, I think, 2017 was his performances against Robbie Lawler and whatnot. And then 2018, I mean, I don't think anybody had a worse year than 2018. Like, if you guys want to go back and look at 2018 for RDA, the man not only had to fight Colby Covington, but had to fight Kamaru Usman all within, I think it was like 5-6 months of each other. And I know in 2018 at that time, it didn't sound like that big of a deal. But like now in 2022, when we know Colby, if Kamaru Usman's down on this planet, Colby Covington's your champion, and vice versa. Colby's the only one or Usman's the only one that can beat Colby. So like to see him kind of get beat up by that, and in 2019 comes back. I think he gets that submission to Kevin Lee, which was a pretty impressive, and then he loses to Leon Edwards in a pretty dominant performance. And then in 2020, Michael Chiesa loss, and and I know he just beat Hanato Moicano here in March, like I said, but the man took 2.5 years off, had three fights against Islam back out. And, it's just kind of sad because he is at the point now where he's 38, I think 39, one of those. He's getting up there in age. He's been around forever. The dude's been a true legend of the game. Dude's been fighting since he was like 18, I want to say. So, it is tough because as much as I want to sit here and praise Fiziev, because I definitely want to. I don't want that to be slept on, but I've said so much about Fiziev already, and everybody else is. I kind of wanted to focus on RDA, and it's just like, what is next for him? I'm one of the first people to ever come out and say, like, not that the guys don't have it still. It's just, at what point do you kind of have to swallow your pride a little bit and your ego and realize, like, hey, look, like, because don't get me wrong, RDA would kick the fuck out of me personally. Like, yeah, he would beat the shit out of me, but I'm not a professional fighter. So it's like, it's easy, I guess, for me to sit here and say this behind the screen. But, like, if we look at it, everybody in the top 5 right now, RDA is not touching. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here. We've seen how it went at 170, didn't go well. He tried to go back to 155, to go back to his original weight class. Looks good here and there, but I don't know, man. After seeing Fiziev did put on a great performance, takedown defense and everything looked amazing, but that finish was kind of brutal. You don't see RDA kind of go out like that usually. And it's just tough, man, because I just don't want to see RDA turn into the BJ Penns and turn into all these guys that Robbie Lawler even now. Like, you see these guys just taking so much damn damage for no reason, and there's no chance of them. I shouldn't say no chance because you don't know, but, like, let's be real here. If we're playing odds, there's a very slight chance that RDA could even get back to a title contention fight. And it's just, like, because that was his last one. So you're kind of sitting here now, like, what is next? What would be next? Like, what would even be worth it? I don't see a move going up to 170. I don't think it's worth it right now. Hamzat would mop the floor with him. Gilbert Burns would mop the floor with him. Usman would mop the floor with him. Covington would mop the floor with him. Jeff Neal probably would mop the floor with him. There's Sean Brady. Like, you got all these guys that would probably mop the fucking floor with him. And then at 155, like I said, you got the Fiziev, Islam. I mean, good God, we can go on forever. Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler. I mean, he could probably take out Ferguson, but Ferguson's not even in there anymore. So, like, who would he fight? What's even the point? And I know he's got a lot of juice left. I'm not sitting here saying he should retire or nothing or go to another organization, but he does have to start looking here. Like, what is the exit plan now? Like, what should we be doing? Because I don't see a title fight in his future. I don't think the UFC sees a title fight in his future. My heart goes out to him seriously after this whole Islam thing. Like, that was his last true chance. Like, you beat Rafael Fiziev at this rate. Like, okay, we know Fiziev can show what he's got, but like, this was the win-win for Fiziev. This was not the win-win for RDA. Like, you lose to Fiziev, it's like, oh great, now Fiziev takes all your power and moves on. So, it's heartbreaking. Never been an RDA fan, but I am sitting here kind of, feeling bad for him because he has been in my life forever when it comes to MMA. He's had some of the greatest performances ever. He's been in some of the greatest feuds ever. I mean, let's not forget, like, this man, him and Conor McGregor's little press conference and almost fight, like, that's up there, man, for one of the biggest fights that never actually took place. Because if you asked me at that time, RDA, Conor McGregor, I was really thinking RDA was probably going to beat the shit out of Conor. Don't get me wrong, I think Conor could have got the knockout and whatever, but RDA is a tough battle, dude. I think RDA would have probably held him down, done a lot what he did to Anthony Pettis. I think it would have been a boring fight most likely, but RDA probably would have just derailed the hype train. Double champion wouldn't be it anymore. So it's probably a good thing Eddie Alvarez went on, because MMA, we all know, MMA math does not always add up. Just because Eddie Alvarez beat the shit out of RDA doesn't mean, and Conor went on to beat Eddie Alvarez, that it would be the same. I think RDA would have been a terrible matchup for Conor. And I'm a huge Conor guy. Clearly, it's in my fucking intro here. But, like, let's not forget, man, I think he probably would have derailed the champ status. He wouldn't have been a thing. Conor arguably was never going to get the Mayweather fight. Like, there's a lot of shit that could have happened if RDA would have kind of got through. So, you know, it is tough for the man that's already been a champion and has done it all. He has had some ups and downs and some very unfortunate downs when it comes to his MMA career. So, you know, part of me just wants to say shouts out to him. Congrats, man. I know he just took us a pretty tough loss in round 5 in a fight that, I mean, it was close, don't get me wrong, but I know Fiziev was pulling away from it, in my opinion. You know, we finally seen RDA kind of get a little older and kind of take some hits. So, I don't know, man. It's just tough. We're just getting to a point now, man. We're just starting to, you know, see all of our favorite fighters just kind of go downhill. Not downhill, but, like, you know, starting to take the next step towards life. Like, because let's not forget, mid-30s for an MMA fighter that's like a 40-year-old in the NBA or, you know, NFL or whatever it is. So, shouts out to RDA. Man, congrats. Fiziev, special shout out to you. I'm not forgetting you, clearly. I don't want anybody to be mad at this video. It's kind of more just a shout out to RDA and our legends of the game, Cerrone, all these guys. I can go on for days about it. And, you know, just here in the next couple years, I know we got some hot names coming up, like the Hamzats, the Fizievs even. You know, we got all these people coming up, you know, the Sterlings, the Usmans, all these guys that have, you know, taking over the last class that we had. But, you know, those guys are going to start slowly fading out. I mean, we got a bunch of guys right now at the top of their game getting ready to probably retire. Poirier's doesn't have that many more fights. Nate Diaz doesn't have that many more fights. Gaethje doesn't have many more fights. Chandler, I know I just named everybody 155, but, like, all around, like, you got Stipe doesn't have many more fights. John Jones realistically doesn't have many more fights. Francis at his level probably is going to move on to bigger fights and probably not the more, like, that many more MMA fights. You know, Usman, not many more. He's been, for everything he's done. You know, Max Holloway, not many more. Like, all these guys. Connor, you know, sooner or later, we're not going to have, you know, our legends that we did have. So it's kind of nice to kind of sit here and really just soak it up while we have them. But this has been the 5th round. As always, your boy Stephen Moustaris, and I hope you guys have a good one.